I'm Chris Jansing here at MSNBC World Headquarters in New York, and we'll go back to Stephanie Ruhle in Aspen in just a bit. But in less than 2 hours, a judge here in New York will decide whether registered sex offender Jeffrey Epstein will be released from jail on bail. Epstein, of course, pleading not guilty to conspiracy and sex trafficking charges that were brought by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan. Earlier this week, prosecutors urged the judge to deny bail for the 66-year-old, saying he's a flight risk. They also revealed that investigators discovered a safe in Epstein's $56 million mansion, which they say contained piles of cash, diamonds, and an expired foreign passport with his picture, but with a different name. His residence listed as Saudi Arabia. Since then, we've learned details about this video from 1992, showing President Trump with Epstein, watching and commenting on women at a party in Mar-a-Lago. NFL cheerleaders danced among the crowd. The video from NBC's archives, and it was taken more than 15 years before Epstein's plea deal in Florida on prostitution charges. President Trump told reporters in the Oval Office last week he had a, quote, falling out, and was not a fan of Epstein and hasn't spoken with him in 15 years. Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Lois Frankel of Florida, representing Palm Beach, where Epstein received that controversial plea deal more than a decade ago, overseen by soon-to-be former Labor Secretary Alex Acosta. It is good to see you. We've got a lot to talk about, but can we go back to the original plea deal? You know this well. Epstein spent 13 months in a county jail, but he was allowed to leave 6 days a week on work release. What would be your message today to the judge who's about to decide about bail for Epstein?
Well, I think my sentiment is shared by many. Jeffrey Epstein should be in prison now. He allegedly, well, I think there's very good evidence that he molested more than 80 young girls, probably many more. I think that's probably the tip of the iceberg. And he should be serving a lifetime prison sentence right now. So I know maybe the judge doesn't take that into account, but that's my opinion. Yeah.
And we've learned several new details. You know, on Monday, there was a hearing, a bail hearing. Prosecutors talked about this safe that was found in Epstein's mansion. And in addition, the attorney for one of Epstein's alleged victims says that during Epstein's work release, while serving in the jail, that sentence he got in that part of that deal, women visited Epstein, or females, I should say, visited Epstein at his office for, quote, sexual contact. Congresswoman, what do you make of these new allegations?
And Chris, that's not all. First, I want to say thank you for having me today. That's not all. I believe there's evidence that he paid thousands of dollars to witnesses to keep them quiet. So this whole situation, to me, is an example of power and money overwhelming the justice system. And we have to get to the bottom of it. I mean, there's so many unanswered questions. Yes, I think we're all grateful that the prosecutors in New York are now charging Jeffrey Epstein. Once again, they're charging him with child molestation. But I know the community is asking why. Why did he get this deal in the first place, the deal in Florida? Why were people given immunity? I'd like to know who was given immunity. Why were the victims not told about the plea deal? Why in the world did he get such a light sentence and then allowed to go on work release when no other sex offenders are allowed to go on work release? So lots of unanswered questions that the community is demanding answers to.
And as we wait for an answer on bail, I do want to ask you about President Trump's rally last night in North Carolina, where he continued his attacks on 4 of your colleagues, 4 Democratic congresswomen of color. Here's how the crowd reacted. I want to play that.
Omar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds.
Send her back. What goes through your mind when you hear that?
Well, to me, you know, a lot of what the president said has not only been vile and bigoted, but I think he is inciting violence. And Chris, you know, I haven't agreed with everything that Omar says. I don't agree with everything that all my colleagues say all the time. and we have our own opinions. Sometimes we vote differently on things, but this is not the American way, and I am fearful for what they call the squad. I'm fearful for their lives, and the president, he's not only with his bigoted language causing concern for people's lives, he's distracting everybody from the real work of Congress right now. And today we're going to pass legislation to raise the minimum wage, give over 33 million people raises if Mitch McConnell will take up our legislation. We're doing a lot of good things here. The president's distracting.
Congresswoman Lois Frankel, good to see you.